Hello, welcome. Actually, I don't really need these. I don't have to be producer right now or a podcast host. All right, I'm going to wait a few minutes to get rolling. It would be fun to see like a hashtag live or a hashtag replay if you're watching this later. Today we are doing Honest Advent Day 1. I'm talking to Instagram and I'm talking to Facebook, and I'm so excited y'all are here. So I'm just gonna pop over here and double check Facebook is doing well. Let me see here. Are y'all having a good Tuesday? I hope so. I am having a good Tuesday. It's cold. It feels like Christmas. I went to Michael's and picked up a few things, and I thought I would just enjoy being Christmas. Oh, and I can't forget, today's tea is this mug with the little cute reindeers on it. And my sweet neighbor, shout out to Crystal, she gave me an advent calendar that is tea every day. So different kinds of tea to try every day. So it was like a love gift to myself, or from her. Speaking my love language, that's what I was trying to say. So today's is an Epicure. Has anybody ever heard of Epicure? She sells it and it's lovely, the most amazing seasonings. And now I know that they sell teas, and this one's pretty amazing. It's like a sleepy tea that I'm going to drink it at 1:45 in the afternoon and hopefully not fall asleep. So anyway, if you're on, please say hello so I know you're here. This is a book study, a laid back book study, and I want to hear from you. I don't want to be the only one talking the entire time. I would love to hear what you guys are thinking, and I would love to just hear your heart and hear your thoughts and hear where everybody's at. So please comment, please respond, and let me know you're listening. So, all right. Let's see. I'm going to post, right now I'm going to post on Facebook. If you are not already signed up for my newsletter, I'm going to post a link for you guys to sign up for my newsletter, because there's a lot of things happening right now, and I want to make sure that everybody can stay in the know. And man, God's been so good this year, despite the craziness of 2020. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I think, let's see what I'm going to do here. So it's not totally distracting. There we go. All right, so this is day 1. Wow. Okay, I'm going to show you the picture for day 1, and I'm going to ask Scott if I can post a picture of each day. I just don't want to copyright, but this is the picture for today, and isn't it stunning? I love this one. I really sat on this one and really, I like flipped the page upside down. It's hard to do this for both places. So, but this one is about the very beginning of the Advent season. And we're starting with the word annunciation, which Joshua and I really wanted to look up what that word meant. And it really just means to make an announcement. So let's read the Bible verse. So Gabriel appeared to her and said, Greetings, favored woman. The Lord is with you. Confused and disturbed, Mary tried to think what the angel could mean. Oh man, Luke 1:28 through 29. And that's the New Living Translation. And one of my favorite translations right now, which I just put on my blog, a link to my favorite version, the Passion Translation, which is such a beautiful experience of reading the word. More than, it's the most interactive translation that I've read, almost like an encounter type of translation. So I went to the Passion Translation and I read what it said in there. So it said, Mary was deeply troubled over the words of the angel and bewildered over what this may mean for her. Ooh, I think that pulls out so much connection to us in 2020. That bewildered, deeply troubled. I know when, March is the day, was that March 13th when they announced that we would be doing a quarantine? I can remember this like bewildered and deeply troubled feeling. I think I'm going to have a child walk in. Hang on one second. If he does come in. So, hey buddy, I'm in the middle of a live recording. So what do you need? Oh, I can't right now.
Please.
I literally can't. Because I'm using both my phone. Hi, Reverend Kyle Norman. All right, say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. You could play.
Watch something. Yeah, it's dead.
Okay, why don't you go charge it? All right, I gotta go though. I'll be right down. I'll be down in a minute. Okay.
Somebody said hello.
All right. So anyway, back to day 1 and Mary just being deeply troubled and deeply bewildered. I love that word, where you just are like, what is happening? So let's dive in before we go too deep into that. But I love to, there's something that, actually I'm going to wait on talking about that, but I want to read a little bit of this chapter. So on page 17, he talks about the angel coming to visit and how we all long for this divine, tangible, like, yes, this is the way. This is your life plan. This is your yes or no. And how we all long for that, or a real, tangible, angelic visit. And I know there are some people that actually have had an angelic, tangible visit. And that's so cool. And I, for one, am hoping for more and more of grasping what the spiritual realm is like. But I'm not there yet. We'll get there. But he's talking about how it would be amazing if we could find this beautiful connection and have a tangible experience of knowing, yes, this is the way. So I wanted to read this. It would be awesome to have this kind of story in your life. But if I'm honest, I'm actually afraid of revelation. All great stories come at a cost. And the cost of revelation is that it's going to ask something of us. In any divine annunciation, you receive revelation as a gift. Yet at the same time, you receive notice that all that you had planned is ending. It's all over. Everything will change, and most of all, you. Whoa. That is some serious truth right there. I'm going to keep reading. And maybe that is a welcome change. And maybe you are reading this thinking, God, I could use a change. And maybe you're reading ready for such a transformation. But the rub of revelation is that it's transformation you're not in charge of. We all have areas in which we would love transformation. For example, me, a never-ending daddy tummy, a proclivity to melancholy, an inability to enjoy the last few Star Wars films. Sorry, JJ, I tried. That made me giggle. I'm probably one of the few, too, that don't like Star Wars. Although I do like Mandalorian. Anyway, maybe for you, it's your relationship with your in-laws, your finances, your dead-end job with its annoying micromanaging boss, or your unceasing anxiety. But it seems that revelation doesn't transform the places you want to transform. It transforms all the things you dreamed and planned for your best case scenario. It's not hard to see that Mary's transformation could look a lot like ours. How your life would be, whom you'd marry, what your wedding would be like, your first kids' names, how people would think about you and your family in the community where you live, how your kids' lives would turn out, your best laid plans. Okay, here's another amazing quote. Revelation is a hard gift to receive. You must give up everything else to receive it. Like finding a treasure in a field and selling everything you have so you can get that treasure. Well, but then again, she who is willing to accept the cost of revelation finds herself in the deepest of stories that are so mysterious, divine, and human that we still tell them today. All right. So, going back to all great stories come at a cost. The cost of revelation is that it's going to ask something of us. Does anybody relate to that? Anybody have a revelation in their life where they're like, this is super profound and it's going to cost you losing and changing parts of yourself? Has anybody else experienced this transformation of finding this treasure in a field and selling everything that you know, your perceived future, and letting go? Has anybody else done that? I know for me, I'll share since I don't have too many people on right now, but and Reverend Kyla, if you have a story of transformation or revelation, I would love to hear it in the comments. I think so we looked up the word revelation, and one of the definitions is a surprising or unknown fact that is being revealed. And like Mary, where this angel appears to her and gives her a divine revelation of her divine conception that's going to happen. So I think when we can relate it to our own lives, for me, I'm just going to keep going back to this year. The very beginning of the year, I heard the word powerhouse as my word as I was praying for a word over this year. And I immediately started crying. In my mind, I was thinking powerhouse as striving, pushing as hard as I can, really just physically going for it and doing everything I could to fulfill these dreams that the Lord has given me over the past years. And for me, the revelation in that word powerhouse, I had to give up everything that I thought that was a powerhouse. I had to give up everything that I perceived of myself and what I was capable of doing and laying that down. Because for me, when I have struggled with autoimmune stuff and my body is very vocal, and so when he said powerhouse and the tears came, that was Lord, my body is tired. I don't know if it can do it. And it was the revelation that it wasn't me being the powerhouse, but surrendering to him in the river of life and allowing him to create this almost dam-like structure of powerhouse creativity through me, and seeing it now, that is the everything will change, and most of all you. I look back in 2019, I'm not the same Kristen I was in 2019. I'm definitely a Kristen of 2020. So that would be an example for me. And I would love to hear, even if you watch this later, I would love to hear your experience of a revelation where you've had to give up everything that you thought and lay it down. All right, so Reverend Kyle, he said, I definitely felt the call to transformation, which calls to something new, but also calls to set down the old. Bonhoeffer says that when the Lord bids you to come, he bids you to come and die. Oh man, yes. Yeah. So just like with Mary, she was a young girl. I was talking to my friend Becky last night, and she was explaining, was it Becky or I can't remember. Anyway, we were just talking about how young Mary was and how she had her whole life ahead of her. And, she could have been anywhere from 12 to 14, I think. Maybe Reverend, more specifics with that. But just thinking, as an angel is coming and prophetically telling you that you have the Son of God within you, the divine presence in you, and you will give birth to the Messiah. I have a 14-year-old girl, and so it hits home this year in a whole different way. It hits home in a way of like, I can't even imagine if that happened to her. And the amount of hopes and dreams that Mary had that were not, they were the perceived future in her head. And then this angel coming and bringing a whole new revelation of, oh, your life is going to be laid down, and it's going to be even more wonderful and even more wholehearted than you'll ever experience. You'll experience so much more pain than you can ever imagine. You'll experience so much more love than you'll ever imagine. And that exchange, and I'm pretty sure later on in the book we're going to talk about how she chose to respond. But I love just the tension of waiting right here. The confused and disturbed Mary tried to think of what the angel could mean. So, yeah. So Mary chose to accept the present and not worry about the future. And that is a little bit further down. I did want to hit on too, I've been learning a lot about deep desires and how psychologically our desires are our motivations on what we do. It's all based off of Tony, I always forget how to say his last name, Tony Stoltzfus. Anyway, he talks about there's desires, that everything we do is based off of that. And I was thinking about how with Mary, this hit home to, and it kind of goes off of, is it Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Just basic security and belonging and peace and comfort. That stability is all of a sudden gone for her. And how the only person that could replace that is the one that's calling her to lay it down. It's actually Jesus himself. It's actually God himself that is asking Mary to lay down her life so that he can live in her. And no pun intended, but pun intended. So that's wild. So that stability and comfort in no other way could be grasped than her laying down that life and saying, yes, I receive the King of Kings in me. All right. So I think that was most of what I had for day 1, unless anybody else wants to say anything. And I'll end with the prayer. I love too that he says he has a future. Actually, no, I wrote this down. I wrote this down out of what he was saying, of just that God has a future that's even better than what we could even imagine. And I think some of you need to hear that today. I think we've lost a lot of hope this year. And if I could give you some hope today, that would be amazing. I pray that the God of hope would come and bring you vision, bring you hope, bring you peace, all of those things. Reverend Kyle says, I think people confuse revelation with certainty. Receiving revelation doesn't mean that everything always makes sense. Oh yeah, we still act in faith and trust. Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. Mary had no idea what was going to happen. I mean, I think she was just faithful in every moment. And I think that's the beauty of, even in the Lord's Prayer, when it says our daily bread, we cannot move too far into the future without coming to him for that sustenance, that every step that we take every day is a new day, and it's a new direction, it's a new step. And I love that. Yeah, revelation is not certainty, for sure. And it doesn't always look like what we think it's going to look like. And even if it did, I don't know if I think my God is way bigger than what my imagination can bring, and even prophesy of what's going to happen, or envision a future that I think is coming. Anybody else feel that way? All right, well, let me end with this, the prayer at the end. May you receive the light of divine annunciation in the flames of your best laid plans. All right, I think that is it for today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of your Tuesday. Again, sign up for my newsletter, either on Instagram, you can go in the bio, just sign up for more info of upcoming courses, podcasts that are coming out, all of that. I send out a weekly newsletter featuring those things. And on Facebook, I'll put a link in the show notes. So appreciate all of you, and I'm praying for every one of you that's doing this study. All right, bye.